My name is Amy Croto. I am a hearing officer and shellfish constable assigned to this aquaculture renewal hearing today. It is Thursday, September 14th. The time is 1:03 p.m. I'm going to share my screen here. This is for a renewal of Conrad Geyser, who runs Cotuit Sea Farm, 64 Old Shore Road, Cotuit, Mass. The site involved is just outside of Cotuit Bay. We have approximately, I think it's 6 acres involved. It's not on the application, with a mean low water depth plus or minus 3 feet and a mean high water depth between 5 and 9 feet. The existing bottom conditions in the area are hard packed sand, some mud, shell bottom on the deep water side. There's very little to speak of in terms of existing natural shellfish population, possibly some quahogs in the mud bottom area of the deep water side of the grant. Species being cultivated here are eastern oyster and northern quahog. Possible other species to be cultivated, butter clams, if ever allowed by DMF, on the flat, and scallops in the deep water side. Specific details to proposed method or continued method of cultivation: bottom culture will be used for quahogs and surf clams. 10x netting will be used to protect animals from predators. Oyster grout will utilize condo cages clipped together with 6 foot 3/8" line to keep in place. Floating oyster grow type cages will be secured by helical anchors. Lines with 10 to 15 oyster grow will be clipped together with 3/8 to 1/2" line. The system will help address the chronic boring sponge problem associated with this site. Fouling has been a serious problem here. The oyster grow system will be sunk in the deep area or removed altogether for the winter. Proposed harvest of shellfish: quahogs will be harvested by rake or hydraulic pumping. Oysters will be harvested by utilizing a boat with a crane to lift cages out of the water. As mentioned prior in the application, existing conch fencing remains on site, and 10x netting is used to cover quahogs prior to harvest for predator control. And this is not Conrad's sole means of support, and he does employ Cotuit Oyster Company to assist with grow and harvest operations. As this is not his first renewal of this site, he is requesting a 10-year renewal. And right here we have the latitudes and longitudes of the 2 sites, Sg009, both under license 92-96. And so at this time, I would invite Conrad or Pete or Chris to provide any additional commentary regarding the renewal application.
Additional commentary.
Nothing? Covered it all in the application.
Just consider the use of it here within a. So additional commentary, a possibility for additional gear, flip farm system, flow and grows when the appropriate time comes.
Okay. So outside of that, I will now take off the hearing officer hat and act as shellfish constable. Amy Croto. Natural Resources reviewed this renewal application and has no opposition to the renewal. Conrad has held this site for decades and is always up to date on his paperwork and fees. The Shellfish Committee was to review this application at their September 13th meeting, but they did not have a quorum, and so we'll review it after the fact at their October meeting. The only thing I would add as Shellfish Constable is that the mention of floating gear is technically a change to what has traditionally been done there. So work with Natural Resources and possibly also with Army Corps of Engineers to amend a permit may be necessary. But that review can come when it's determined whether or not that gear would be appropriate for use at that site. At this time, I would take any public comments, and seeing that we have no members of the public present, we will close the hearing now at 1:08 p.m. At this point, we take all of the information from this hearing, provide it to the town manager. He has up to 30 days to review it himself and make a recommendation, which then goes to the town council for up to 30 days. Typically, at the end of the first 30 days after the hearing, the request is made by the town manager's office to have the new license created, and then that's mailed off along with a packet to DMF, and then you should have your new license probably within like a month and 2 weeks. Anybody have any questions?
No
All right,
questions.
well, thank you guys for joining me. Have a lovely afternoon, and again, we are closing this hearing.